Alright, so the next exam question we'll be answering is students in an exam were asked to outline the mechanism of what? Absorption of monosaccharides. So how are monosaccharides absorbed in the stomach? Alright. So before you can answer this question, first of all, you need to know what monosaccharides are. So monosaccharides, those are the what? Simple sugars, right? So simple sugars like what? Glucose, fructose, and galactose, alright? So if you take a food that has glucose, if you take a food that has fructose, if you take a food that has galactose, how is it being able to absorb, to be absorbed into your system, alright? Those are the mechanisms, alright? So I want you guys to note something. I want you to know the SGLT1. I want you to know the GLUT5. I want you to know the GLUT2. All right. So LGLT is what? Sodium glucose glucose cotransporter. So these are the things that actually what aid the absorption of monosaccharides in the body. All right. So you don't have to worry because we'll get to talk about it in depth. All right. So monosaccharides such as what? Glucose, fructose, galactose are absorbed in the small intestine, right? So you must actually what? Indicate that they are absorbed in the small intestine because they are not absorbed in the stomach, not in the large intestine. So you must actually what? Put that small intestine, all right? Now, it is what? Absorbed through two mechanisms. One of it is what? Active transport. Then the other one is what? Facilitated diffusion. All right. Active transport, that's when things are moving against the gradient. Why facilitated diffusion is, diffusion. Everybody knows what is a diffusion, right? So for the active transport, we have the SGLT1, what I was telling you guys about. All right. So for the SGLT1, you can see beside it the wrote what? Glucose and galactose, right? So this one transport glucose and galactose into the enterocytes. Those are the cells of the small intestine. Have you understood that? Then next we have the what? GLUT5. That's the glucose transporter. All right, glucose transporter 5. And this one mainly transports what? Fructose. All right. So you can see here that this one facilitates fructose absorption. Simple. All right. Then next we have the glucose transporter 2. All right. This one transports glucose out of the enterocyte into the bloodstream. Do you know what that means? When all the glucose enter through this way, now they are inside the cell of the small intestine. But they need to get into your blood so that I can have energy to read, so that I can have energy to play football and all this stuff, right? So for them to move out of the cells of the small intestine, they have to utilize this glucose transporter 2. All right. So they move into the blood, and from there they can now be what? Spread throughout the body. Okay, so that's it. We've spoken about this. All right. SGLT1 and the what? GLUT5, all right? Then the GLUT2, that's the glucose transporter 2, facilitates how the monosaccharides will move out from that place into the bloodstream, all right? So the mechanisms is the co-transporters utilize sodium ions. Sorry. Co-transporters with sodium ions, they will bind to what? Specific transport proteins, right? Then conformational changes will occur in the transport proteins, right? It's basically an energy dependent transport, okay? So one thing is, once you are able to talk about it this way, is even okay, all right? Because you want to see how you can be able to play with the terminologies and how you are able to know that glucose and galactose is actually this one, fructose is actually this one, then for them to move out is actually this one. Do you understand? So that's it for the mechanism of absorption of what? Monosaccharides.